A pleasant day to everyone. For today's lesson, we have the process focus. In process focus, these are the intended learning outcomes. First, understand the different concept of process management. Second, you can also determine the benefits of process improvement on business performance. Third, you can also define and illustrate supply chain quality management based on the TQM principles. And the last, you can also know the best practices for process improvement. In this are the lecture proper and discussion. We will discuss about the process management, the process design, the process control, the process improvement, and the last, the supply chain quality management based on the TQM principle. Now, let's define what is the process. By the definition, a process is a series of activities or steps used to transform input into output. An input or output may be exist or occur in the form of data, information, raw materials, partially finished units, or purchased parts or product or service or the environment. It is the step used by the individual or a group to perform work or complete a task. It is sometimes referred to as a technique, methods, or procedure. The absence of a clearly defined process makes any activity subject to an arbitrary mode of execution and its outcome or output subject to unpredictable performance. In order to do it right the first time and do the right things right, process must be effectively. Now, here are the three types of processes. First, we have the management process. In management process, this entails the methods used by organization or the management and executing its management functions. So these are the key major functions in terms of management. We have the planning, organizing, and the controlling. The second type of process is we have the functional process. So this kind of process consists of methods used to achieve functional objectives within a group or an individual. And for the last, we have the cross-functional process. In cross-functional process, this includes the methods used to achieve objectives that requires participation or input from more than one group or individual. For example, the problem of minimizing breakage of a fragile product might require input from the shipping, design, marketing, packaging, and manufacturing department. Similarly, the problem of an adverse drug reaction in a hospital may require the involvement of pharmacies, the ordering physician, the registered nurse, and the unit secretary. So each group or individual consists one or more of the sub-processes affecting the problem. Now, what is process management? Process management and the management of activity is all about organizing, coordinating, and management. It is one of the basic and daily activities of managers, but also all other staff. Process management and the management of activities within the organization is one of the management functions associated with organizing. The work of people in the organization take place to their activities that need to be scheduled within the organizational structure and assigned to specific workers in the specific workplaces. Apart from activities in any organization, also processes exist. In terms of managerial activities and processes within the organization, there are two basic approaches. First is we have the functional approach or the functional management. So in here, it is defined in 1776 by Adam Smith and based on the traditional division of labor according to its specification and also on the fragmentation of work into simplest tasks so that they are easily to do by unskilled workers. The functional approaches leads to the division of labor with an emphasis on simple operation, which in turns lead to the division of labors between the organizational units, which are divided on the basis of skills or what we call the functions. The second approach is we have the procedural approach or the process management. In here, it's emphasized the successive flows of activities across the organization. Example, the processes compared to the traditional vertical functional approach based on the design and procedural changes of organizational structure. So the procedural approach is focused horizontally on the processes. The procedural approach became very popular in 90s on the 20th century when the approach began to talk about extensively in regards to processes and re-engineering, also because of the intense onset of modern information and communication technologies that enable radical changes in the process in organization. And now let's have the process design. Process design is the act of transforming an organization vision, goal, and available resources into discernible, measurable means of achieving the organizational vision. Process design may start with process analysis. So the best practices from similar organization, process reference model from industry and standard organization. Example, we have the SCOR or the ETQTOM or third party consultants or greenfield. Ideas coupled with the experience and insight of the process design team. In process design focuses on defining what the organization will do to achieve its financial and other goals. The process design also play a large role in how well the processes meet business needs. So we have here the three categories. First is we have the analytical or attributes. Attributes of the objective requires for the design are primary point of consideration. When all attribute designs are met, the objective of this design type are considered completed. For example, if a new process has a set of criteria and the available resources have a set of constraints, when the completed design meets both the criteria and constraint, the design is considered adequate. The second category is we have the experimental object or search. In here, it's focused on testing specific objectives to determine suitability. So this type of design heavily focuses on the experiments and the outcome. So the list of possibilities are captured up front and each possibilities of this kind of object is viewed, tested, or prototype to determine which has the best set of attributes which met the design's needs. The third is we have the procedural or operation. This design type focuses on changing a specific object or processes to have a desired set of traits or attributes. So the review of what the process is currently capable of and what changes need to be made to accommodate the new criteria is the primary focus. So the specific procedure or methods are applied to the addressing current deficiencies in the process and how changes can be made. The process changes typically fall within this design type of their focus on existing and implemented processes, which can be altered to accommodate new requirements through design or new processes, and the system may be an outcome of the design processes as the old processes may be determined to be inadequate. Next is we have the process control. In here, we have the two types. First is the out of control action plan. As you can see in our flow, okay, there are some alternative plan or alternative things to be done accordingly so that the process will not be useless. So in here, the out of control action plans, you can see here the detail of the action to be taken once an out of control situation is detected. So a specific flow chart that leads the process engineer through the corrective procedure may be provided by each unique processes. The second one is we have the advanced process control loops. So dito, it is by the says automatically, it's considered that it is based on the program or based on the technology to be correct for the size of the cut or the out of control measurements. Now, let's talk about the process improvement, We all know that having this kind of process that being involved can definitely lead to many benefits that can have a direct impact on the business performance. The first benefit is we have increased productivity and efficiency. In here, it is continuous improvement in the process can help remove inefficiency and ultimately improve the productivity of team members. With tools for enhancing processes, organization can also evaluate performance metrics and evolve processes without restricting the way teams work. Reporting and analytics provide insight into delivery trends to remove bottlenecks, and also for us to predict future issues and adapt workflow processes for improved productivity. The second benefit is we have the faster time to market. It's also improving processes by adopting tools such as Kanban board or even the use of Gantt chart can help companies deliver software, application, and other products into production more quickly. So this kind of tools can achieve a continuous flow of value by identifying hardness sooner and also resolving them more quickly. The third benefits is we have the improved product quality. In addition to accelerating development, process improvement can lead to higher product quality. So like for example, by deploying the proper testing methods, companies can be more assured that the product will advance to production only when performance, security, integration, and other issues has been resolved. The next one is the increased customer satisfaction and also the loyalty. Producing higher quality products and delivering them in a timely manner can lead to more satisfied customers. Happy customers are often return customers, and that loyalty leads to increased revenue for businesses. For our fifth benefit, we have the improved employees morale or employee morale. Inefficient processes can be highly discouraging for workers who wants to be part of a system that's broken and leads to frustration. So weak businesses processes can cause the morale of even the most hard-working employees to decline if they start to feel that all their efforts are being overwhelmed by the flaws of a system. So this is Notes online job site cleverism. And then for the last, we have the competitive advantage. In continuous process improvement can help set companies apart from their competition, as noted in an Industry Week article. The key to differentiating your company is that your competition do not design product, processes order through customer service, manufacture them in your plants, or even sell and distribute them exactly like you do. And that's where you can create a uniqueness that could yield a competitive advantage. It is also where your continuous improvement projects are concentrated. Next is we have the types of processes to be improved. Any type of business process can be improved, from the most strategically important to the most mundane processes can be formal or informal. So those processes considered formal, which are also known as procedures, are documented and have well-established steps. For instance, a company might have procedure in place for receiving and submitting invoices or for establishing relationship with their new clients. First type is we have the formal processes. these are the processes are especially important when they have involved anything having to do with employees or customer safety. We have also here a legal issues, financial consideration, and other critical or sensitive functions. So in these cases, it's important to follow some particular steps. Another type is we have the informal process. So in other hand, there are more likely to be created by individual or groups within organization to complete certain tasks. They might not involve writing it or they not involve written instruction but are nevertheless important for achieving the goals. So these two different kinds of processes have one thing in common. They are all designed to streamline the way individuals and team works. When everyone follows a well-tested set of steps, there are fewer errors and delays. There are less duplicated efforts and staff, and customers feel more satisfied. Now, to have the so-called process improvement, we have some practices that are necessary to execute in every organization. So the intent to improve processes is not enough. So companies need to execute the right way. Here are some of the best practices for incremental processes change aimed at improving existing processes. First is we have the map the process. Ayan, map the process. So once you have identified which processes needs to be improved, you need to document step by step using the flowchart or other diagram. So this illustrates the key steps in the process. So they can be easily grasped by stakeholders. Explore each phase in details because some processes might include unexpected sub-steps. Involve those people who use the process regularly to make sure nothing important is overlooked. The next is analyze the process. In analyzing the process, like what I've said kanina, we have the flow chart for us to have the so-called documentation of our step. So the use of flow chart is for us to investigate the problem within the process as a part of evaluation. So in our evaluation, look at the factors such as what are the issues or getting team members of customer frustrated. So which steps are created bottleneck? What is the causing cost to rise or quality to decline? Or which steps require always easy for individual or even a team? And also sometimes they become resistant. And for the last, review the process. After rolling out the new process, closely track how things are working in the weeks that follow to make sure the enhanced process is performing as expected. So you need to monitor, okay, also enable you to fix any problem that might occur. So you also need to check in with the people involved in the new process to see how it's working and if it's any additional changes are needed. Another thing is we have the supply chain quality management based on the TQM. So we all know that the TQM is the continuous process of detecting and even reducing or eliminating errors in the manufacturing, streamlining supply chain management, improving the customer experience, and ensure that employees are up to speed with training. TQM or the Total Quality Management aims to hold all parties involved in the production processes accountable for the overall quality of the final product or services. TQM was developed by William Deming, as we all know, a management consultant chose to work as a great impact on Japanese manufacturing. So while TQM share much in common with the Six Sigma improvement processes, it is not just the same as a Six Sigma. So TQM focuses on ensuring that internal guidelines and processes standards reduce error, while Six Sigma looks to reduce defect. So in supply chain, Okay, so we have the TQM principles here. First is the customer focus. So we all know that the customer focus is the core principle of the idea in terms of our TQM, because quality efforts come of the customer needs and in the customer acceptance. In supply chain circumstances, customers includes not only the end user but also many in between users such as suppliers, manufacturers, sellers, etc. However, more than half of the quality problems in supply chain are resulted by a specification because of the inadequate communication between the members of supply chain. In many cases, the procurement specifications released by buyers are equivocal, while suppliers fail not to argue against buyer on a specification in the bidding process. Therefore, the core enterprise must pay attention to the needs and expectation of end user, and all the members of supply chain must pay attention to the needs and expectation of their backward users. So the needs and expectation of the end user should be deployed layer upon layer in the whole supply chain system. In the end user will satisfy if all the members of supply chain can satisfy the needs of their backward user. Moreover, the operation efficiency of the supply chain system can be improved through the satisfaction level of the end users. In supply chain quality management, some traditional tools of TQM are also effective. Like for example, we can use the quality function deployment or the QFD to identify the distinct and potential needs and preferences of user. Use fishbone chart to investigate the factors affecting the satisfaction level of user, and then use the Pareto chart to find out the key factors. The second principle is we have the leadership. In leadership, the effective of quality management depend on the effective of leadership, because quality efforts can get actual effect only with the recognition and support of the leadership. In supply chain circumstances, the core enterprise play as the leadership since it's established the development strategies and operations target of supply chain effect the actual efficiency and effectiveness of the quality efforts of all the other members. Therefore, the core enterprise must act as a leadership to consider adequately the needs and expectation of other members. Establish a clear, realizable, and coincident holistic target, and then lead and inspire the other members to strive jointly for the target. At the same time, the core enterprises should foster more leaders of TQM in each layer of supply chain and make them take their responsibility jealously. Third is the involvement of people. The exertion of the enthusiasm and creativity of all employees is the precondition of the actual effect of the quality management. In supply chain circumstances, an up and coming Excelsior work atmosphere should be established to inspire the enthusiasm and creativity of the employees of all the members. So each employee should understand their role and also their responsibility in the supply chain system. Next is the process management. In process management, the focus of modern quality view is the process quality management, but not only in the product itself of traditional quality view. And also, in each step of supply chain, there are many correlative processes such as procurement, logistics, production, inventory, selling, service, etc. So these processes have their own independent objectives and programs. So there are usually conflict among the objectives and programs. Therefore, the processes and their mutual effects should be identified and managed to ensure the harmonious operation of supply chain. Next is we have the system management. In system management, the application of this approach in quality management is to view the quality management system as a big and holistic system. Identify and also manage the subsystem respectively. Then, the coordinated effect and mutual promotion among the subsystem will make the whole effect greater than the sum of improvement of each subsystem and improve the validity and efficiency of the realization of final target. In supply chain also, we have some circumstances that we need to face. So these are somehow enterprises should confirm the mutual dependence relationship among the processes in supply chain system. We also need to break the boundaries among supply chain members, construct and integrate the processes in supply chain system. Then many well operation subsystem can be constructed to collocate the resources rationally among the subsystem. Finally, the whole supply system, including supply, transport, production, distribution, inventory, and etc., can realize the target and policy of quality through the optimal operation mode. And the last, we have the continual improvement. And continual improvement is the one of the focuses of modern quality research and practices. Enterprise must improve the quality of product and services continually and reduce the cost to make customers satisfactory. In supply chain circumstances, the pressure of continual improvement is more and more pressing because the market competition is more and more hard. Not only the core enterprise, but also the other members such as suppliers, sellers, and logistic providers must improve their product and services respectively so as to construct the continual improvement of products and services all over the supply chain process. Then, the continual stable and harmonious ability of quality assurance can be established. Furthermore, the core enterprise and other members must find the ways and practices improving performance in or out of supply chain through benchmarking to make the continual improvement speed fast than the one of rivals. However, it is ironical that one of the most important reasons in the predicament of Xerox, which initiated benchmarking practices, was exactly its slow reaction with the fast changing environment. That's it. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any question, it's highly appreciated.